You are just like the others. Everyone goes to school. Everyone has a job they work from 9 to 5, waiting until retirement so that they can have some fun. But they do sneak in a few parties here and there in their early teens and late 20s, the time in which development is most crucial. Everyone lives generally the same lives. So then how do some individuals do better? How do they come out on top, successful, with the dream body, the dream car, the dream house? They got their life together. Even though before it was perfectly fine. They realized that the life they were living was just falling what the greater people were doing, just trying to fit in. They were never told to work on their body, their mind, or their life at all by anyone. Told, oh, focus on school and get good grades and your life will be set. All this while having horrible eating habits, gaining weight. I was at that point once. You don't realize how bad it is until someone tells you about it. And many people might have already clicked off because they think they're enough. They think, oh, I don't need to work on myself because I got what I want. And this is where the majority of people fall under the 99% who are doing the exact same things but feel like they're unique. They have the incapability to look past what they're living in. They want to stay in this safe bubble they call life. So to help others, especially you, on this journey, I made a 9-part guide on how to fix your life and become the person you want to be. Just for clearance, this is not a quick fix. This is not something you can do in a day and get results the next day you'll become a millionaire. That's not how this works. There will be a few things that fix right away, but the majority of benefits will come after a few weeks, months, even years. And this will all be composed of physical, mental, spiritual, emotional benefits. This guide will help you in all stops of life. Step 0 of this guide is realization. Realization is huge. Either I already made you realize that your life kind of sucks, or you have come here to fix what you can. In either scenario, you are going to get tremendous benefits. I'm talking a better social life, more friends, better grades, more better physique, better eating habits, more mental health, more clarity, more focus, more drive to wake up in the morning, and so much more that I literally can't list out because my script isn't that long. Start this off with a trap that people commonly fall into, which I already brought up. It's the I'm good enough trap. You will constantly get people telling you, oh, you're already good enough, why work on yourself? This is the most dreadful thing someone can tell you. It sounds like I'm demoralizing self-confidence here, which I am. Confidence is not real if it can be faked, which it can really easily. True self-confidence comes from true results. Once you have a physical representation of success, your mind will start following that because you know you're successful. You won't need to learn to be confident. It'll naturally come to you because you know your true worth. Your true worth right now represents where your confidence is at. If it's low, that speaks a lot. You will always be learning, whether it's forced onto you or whether it's life giving you lessons. The earlier you get these lessons of life down, the better off you'll be for the future. Another big trap that people fall into is the FOMO trap, or fear of missing out. This has probably run through your mind already and will run through your mind a lot as you hear the things I say, as there is a lot of things to change and avoid to become who you want to be. Studies have shown that the fear of missing out mechanic determines a lot of what someone will do to just try and fit in. Fitting in is something everyone wants to do. We all want to be part of something bigger. It benefited our ancestors tremendously. If you fit in with the tribe and followed their morals and ethics, you would be accepted by them, and they would provide you with shelter and food for the rest of your life. We have been genetically programmed to follow the greater good, even if it's harming us more than we know it is. This is going to be a fight. Not a fight against others, but rather a fight against your own mind for multiple days, weeks, months. It's going to be a long battle. With every step you take against advancing towards the front lines, the more experience you gain. This means you become a better person overall. So make the choice. Will you continue to live the life you're on right now, doing instant gratification activities and just doing whatever others tell you? Or will you choose to actually do something with what you have? It's never too late or too early to become the best there is. And I can assure you, this course will change everything. Part 1, taking initiative. How do we start taking action? We only do things when we feel like it, when we get motivated, or it's just 1 a.m. and we randomly feel like cleaning our room. Well, the only way you can change your life with this guide and with anything you really do is by acting without emotion. If we had let our emotions determine everything that we did in the past, humans would not be alive right now. Look at the great leaders of the past, for the Roman Empire, the Greek Empire, all the empires you know of. They all use logic instead of emotions to rule and take over other places. The people of today, the sheep, you might call them, they use their emotions. They use what was given to them to help them hunt in jungles. An evolutionary advantage, but not useful in the 20th century. So firstly, let's take a huge step in everything, metaphorically and literally. Clean your room. Area you have around you determines a lot of what your mind represents. You are living in a nest of depression. If you're in your room, look around you. Your room invites a sense of who you are mentally. Your room is a physical representation of what your mind is doing. If it's messy, you most likely have monsters in your head. These monsters are creating the ruckus you have. Your mind accepts what you have in front of you and reacts accordingly. If your room is dirty, you would act accordingly in every situation. This is the place you live in, the place you sleep, the place you study. I already had a bag of chips. What will another 5 chips do? I already spent 5 hours on TikTok. What would another hour do? Rome was not built in one day. Neither did it fall in one day. And you are slowly falling apart. If you enter a messy room and think that you need to clean it up, but then you respond with, oh, I'll do it later, or oh, I don't care, you strengthen the mental circuits responsible for the I don't care mentality. Give it enough time and you will react with this mentality of I don't care to a lot of things. This is also what's making you feel lazy and unmotivated to really do anything at all. After you start cleaning your room, everything else follows. This is step 0 in self-improvement. Now, you might have cleaned up your room and you find it getting dirty after like 3 days. You find like clothes on the bed and like your socks on the floor and like the bags, everything just all over the place. This is because you've spent years strengthening the I don't care mentality. So you clean your room, but it gets dirty after a bit because you don't care. This is where the war starts. This is where the fight with your mind starts. Yeah, cleaning your room is a huge mental battle, which is why almost everyone hates doing it. Or to fight an enemy that you can't really see and observe. But once you get this room in order, a lot of things in your mind will pop into order as well. Not let your room get dirty. And be very, very conscious of it. Mind will automatically deploy its I don't care mentality whenever you walk in. You might come into your room after school and throw your clothes on the bed. Over time, you'll find it much more easier to keep your room clean because you've strengthened the don't get it dirty mentality. This cleaning of your room is a very, very small part of self-improvement, but think of it as planting the seed for a tree. A lot of things grow out of it, and trees don't all grow at once. This is just the beginning. Now that you have this figured out, here comes the real start to self-improvement. Your purpose. This is the most exciting part and also the most time consuming. My purpose is to help the willing and young men get their life together and conquer in a world of no competition. I use my younger self as an example. This purpose is my reason to wake up. It's my reason to go to school and get high grades. It's my reason to work out and do everything that I do, make these videos. Your purpose is your why. It's like the activity you had to do in elementary school where you'd write your goals and put it up on a wall, which I quite literally did. There's a huge difference between your goals and your purpose. Your goal is based on money, status, and health, but your purpose is tied in with your identity, who you want to be. Think of your purpose as the foundation of a home. The bigger the foundation, the bigger the home can be. And the size of the home is determined by the size of your goals. The bigger your goals are, the bigger your home can be. Now, this is all fun to imagine. You could build a huge mansion, but remember, you can't build a huge home on a small foundation. If your purpose isn't good enough, you can't use big goals. I will help you lay out a strong foundation, but the size of your home is determined by you. And to build this home, you need materials. Materials which you aren't going to buy, but you'll have to work for. Now, you could buy yourself a modest home and live in that for the rest of your life, which is what the 99% of people do. They don't want to put in work to expand it. Every so often, they build a new room, they get a promotion, but it never grows exponentially. It never grows into a mansion. When everything we need and want is at our service, why bother putting in so much hard work to achieve something that isn't even in visual reach? Well, this is where the idea of my purpose comes in. People have no competition. And it sounds odd, but we were always told to work hard in school and go to college, get the best grades. But these people are efficient. They're not effective. Efficiency is how well you work at something, how you structure your time. It's your productivity. Effectiveness is determining whether or not you're working on the right thing. As Stephen Covey put it, Efficiency is climbing the ladder as fast as possible. Effectiveness is determining whether or not the ladder is leaning against the right wall. If the ladder is not leaning against the right wall, every step we take just gets us to the wrong place faster. We have too many people praising efficiency and productivity, working hard to achieve something that probably isn't even the right thing. They lack a true and definite purpose. The right thing is often hard to find and discover because it seems like everyone just has to do the same thing to achieve wealth and retirement, unless you give yourself time to think. To find your purpose, as simple as it sounds, you just have to give yourself time to think, which is very, very rare nowadays. How much time have you actually spent thinking? How much time have you spent alone just letting your thoughts wander and getting your ideas down on paper, your reason for living? None, because you try and do it while you're distracted, while you're watching a motivational video. You want to change your life, but you never give yourself time to change it by letting your thoughts out. Pascal said, all of humanity's problems stem from the inability for man to sit alone in a room with his thoughts. And it still rings true to this day, hundreds of years after his death. When we are in a line for food, we pull out Instagram. When we're on a car ride, we message our friends. We're on a trip, we post something on Snapchat. And this sounds very normal because it's been normalized. You're just making the best of your time and being efficient. If you want to truly find your purpose and not do the generic work hard and get money and retire, then sit down and think. Take a day off of any screens. While you're sitting, do not force your thoughts. Do not force trying to find your purpose. Just sit there with nothing to expect, with a notebook right beside you. You get a random thought, write it down. You have to use the bathroom, write it down, and then go use the bathroom. You have homework to do, write it down. As you do this, you will get out all the things that are unnecessary in your mind. And after you get all of the junk out, you'll start throwing on real thoughts. Like I'm telling you to click off my video, which is very rare from a YouTuber. You might find your purpose in a few minutes or so. It might take an hour, it might take a week. But once you find it, you will feel the most fulfilling purpose possible. This purpose should be something that is benefiting the greater good in some scenario, but you could also find a way to monetize it for yourself. It could be helping people, helping other people grow. It could be raising a child. You will soon find your purpose, and once you think you have found it, ask yourself, if you were given $10 million, would you quit it? If not, you have found your true purpose. Your purpose should not linger around the lines of something that comes once and just goes, like become a billionaire. This is a goal, and it's a horrible one too. Your purpose should be something you need to constantly work for, where there's no end in sight, but there is a point where you will feel very fulfilled. Think about it as a game. Every day as you put in more effort, you get more experience for that skill. You get more experience towards that purpose, and soon you will max it out to the point where you don't really need to think about your purpose anymore. It's already fulfilled. You will use it to help propel you in everything. Every morning, you will work hard to achieve that purpose. For example, I work out to demonstrate to other young men that fitness is very important. I do my homework to keep top-tier grades and help other young men follow the path. It's setting an example for whatever you are trying to achieve. It's making an excuse to do something by following your purpose. If you don't follow your purpose, you're letting it down. You're letting that person down. You have your younger self watching you. Do you really want to let them down? Even on days when I'm not feeling the greatest, I ask myself, would my younger self want to see me like this? Would me being lazy and not working towards what I have to work for be a positive influence on them? It is the most worthwhile investment you can make possible for the future. Now that we got the foundation of our home laid out, we can get the outlook of how the home can look. Goals are very cliche. We're always told to make goals in school and throughout our lives, but we never really kind of follow them. The word itself is annoying at times. So instead of a goal, let's call it an intention. What are your intentions? Never mind, let's stick to goals. Goals are very personal, but generally revolve around the same thing: money, status, physical fitness, and career. But your goals this time around will be different. They will revolve around what your purpose is. It will take brainstorming to find what goals can fit your purpose. But I could give some examples. If your purpose is to raise a solid child in the future and you want to try working out, you could use this as an excuse of, I'm going to work out today and tomorrow and for the rest of my life to demonstrate to my child that physical fitness is very important. You could do this for grades as well. I'm going to pay attention in school and get high grades to demonstrate to my child that this is very important. It seems quite impossible with some things, but if you think hard enough, you will find a way to get it down. These goals will be set for both the short and long term. And short term would be 6 months, long term would be for the next year. When you do this, it's close enough to seeming achievable and also seems quite distant. You'll be motivated to work towards it because of how close the deadline is. Say for example, you wanted to build muscle and right now you weigh 130 pounds. 6 months from now, you could set a goal to try and weigh 145 pounds. Cut down on some of your body fat, which we will talk about in the physical fitness part of this self-improvement. This will be your reason to get out of bed every day. If you struggle to even get up and do a bit of work, remember your purpose. Remember that you have to influence your younger self. Remember that you want your future child to be proud of you and look up to you. This feeling of leadership will propel you farther than anything else will. Remind yourself what you're working hard for, what you're going to school for, and what you do every day for everyone else. Part 3. Your duty. Responsibility is something that everyone hates, but it's required if you really want to get ahead of others. People always want to fight for rights and the ease of access. But does anybody really want to fight to get ahead of their competition? No single person I know wants to take on the responsibility for what they have done in the past, except that you are 100% responsible for what you did in the past. And move on. So what does this mean? It means that you're responsible for solving the problems that come in your life. The sad truth is, no one will come out of their way to help you, even if you're stuck in a rut. Think about it. How many people have actually told you to fix yourself right now? No one. Because everyone's trapped in their own world. The people who will give you their full knowledge, however, they want something for it. They want money, they want compensation. The successful don't help others until they have their lives together, and no one around you is successful. Normal individuals would blame the system and it's unfair, everything's against us. While the ambitious individual would accept this and move on. They don't need the dependency of others. Life will never ever lay out a plan for you. You need to take your plan and shove it down its throat. That's how you achieve that which you desire. Now, you already got your plan by laying out your purpose for yourself. How will you go about taking action for it? There will be a lot thrown at you. There'll be times where you don't feel like doing homework, where you don't feel like taking a shower, you don't feel like going to that workout. This responsibility, if you choose to take it on, is a lifelong commitment. Take charge. Let others do for you that which you don't need to do yourself. Unfortunately, most people act like this. They act like they're kids in middle school. They just want to blame whatever they can. They let their egos take control of them, and they don't want to accept that they're the reason for their own indirect suffering. Take charge. Did your car get rammed by another person? Take responsibility. Fix it. The other person might yell and scream and blame you for doing whatever happened, and you will have the urge to yell back at them, tell them it's their fault. Even if it truly was their fault, that urge to yell back is your ego. Stop your ego and sort it out. Let them yell, because you have your emotions under control. Depending on what your purpose is, would you want your younger self to see you yelling about this, mindlessly screaming for something that could be fixed in 5 minutes? Taking up responsibility is very uncomfortable. We've always been taken care of by our parents, by teachers. If we ever needed to get something from someone else that was taken from us, we'd go to the teacher, we'd go to our parents. If we needed to use the bathroom, we'd ask the teacher. We had minimal work to do because we always let someone else do it for us. We needed others' permission to do what we wanted to do. This taking up of responsibility turns you into a more independent, competent, strong man. Think about it like this. Every problem you solve while getting your emotions under control is one experience point towards your responsibility goal. That is one more experience point into becoming more independent and experienced in life. This doesn't mean not asking for help from others. If you truly need help, ask for it. That is a responsibility in and of itself. Some people are actually scared to ask for help, especially men. They're scared to ask for help because they'll be seen as weak, which is, again, another uprising of their egos. There is a variable difference between having a huge ego and having learned helplessness. Learned helplessness was an experiment done by a psychologist where a dog was put in a cage with an electrified floor. There was a board in the middle of the cage, and if the dog tried to cross it, he would immediately get shocked. This would then prompt him to return to his side. At one point, after trying so many times to get across the other side, the dog stopped trying. He would just give up and sit in the place he was before, not even trying to go to the other side to get his treat. That is learned helplessness. Even though the shock was disabled, he stopped. This is comfort. Giving up before even trying hard enough to go to the next level. Sometimes you are literally one step away from getting where you want to be. If this dog had tried one more time, he would have gotten the treat. The shock was disabled. It's just another workout, just another mile, just another board to cross to get where you want to be. Responsibility. Take it and accept. You are 100% responsible for everything that happens to you, everything you've done, and everything that will happen to you. Accept what is thrown at you, diagnose it, work on it, and move on. Hit that workout because you can hit it, because you took the responsibility of fixing your body. Do that work because you took the responsibility of wanting to get the highest grades. Many of the things that come at you are not in your control. The cold weather outside, the insult from a random guy online. Your reactions to this event, however, are the only things that are truly under your control. So use it effectively. Respond with responsibility. Part 4, mental health. Imagine yourself in the perfect mental health scenario. You're perfectly happy with your life and you're satisfied with how it's going. You don't have depression or lack of motivation to do anything at all. Do you think with this mental health, you'd struggle to go to the gym? You'd struggle to even get out of bed and just do your homework? Now imagine yourself in a bad mental health scenario. Do you think this would make it hard for you to work out? For you to just go to school and even do basic tasks in a day? This is the most important part of self-improvement, yet is the most ignored by others. Think about it. What is life if not for what we process in our heads? A competition won, we feel proud of ourselves. We're getting arrested for tax fraud, we feel mad at the FBI. It's all a response by our mind, these feelings. Do you ever just kind of stare at children? Or observe them? Do you ever just observe children to be less creepy? Do you realize how they're in their own world of happiness and welfare? It's so wholesome to watch them play without them having to worry about the next exam date. The aura of children is also so beautiful. They have a positive influence amongst everyone they meet. They make people smile with their pure innocence and their positive influence on everything. No negative thoughts, just positive ones. Once you start working on your mental health, you will enjoy life like a child again. This is literally the way you can get a boost in life. If your social skills were here before, after working on your mental health, they'll be up here. There are so many positive benefits of working on this that I literally cannot list them out. I'd run out of years to live. So now the main question is, how do we work on mental health? Every time we come across this question by some mental health professional, they tell us to go see another professional, a therapist. And that's boring advice. I do agree. If it is severe, go to a professional. But if it's a small thing, we can work on methods at home. And these work quite well. There are two main things you can do to improve your work ethic, your happiness, and your productivity all in one. Mindfulness and gratitude. Mindfulness is the human ability to be completely present in the moment. It is observing your environment without judgment or feeling towards anything around you. Mindfulness is probably the single most important practice you could do in a day, as I would put it above working out and even money. Studies have actually shown that mindfulness increases muscular gains by 14%. Do your research and learn about the benefits. The more you learn about it, the more you want to do it. Firstly, let's start with the sunken cost fallacy. The sunken cost fallacy is when an individual commits to an endeavor because of previous investments. A huge example that affects a lot of people is relationships. You don't want to leave the relationship because you put so much time into it and you have history with the person. This leads you to rationalize your decisions based on what happened in the past. When things get bad, you'll continue to stay because you think you'll get better at one point. But then years pass on and you've dug yourself a deeper hole than before. The sunken cost fallacy causes us to stay with a lot of things, such as being 30 minutes into a horrible movie but continuing to watch it because what's another hour on 30 minutes? Firstly, be aware of your sunken cost fallacies in your personal life. What is something you choose to stick to because you already put so much effort into it and you don't want to quit? This could be a lifestyle, a room you designed, a business that is failing but you just don't want to quit it. This could be a positive thing or a negative thing. Analyze your life and where you're doing things just because you put a lot into it. In doing so, you'll realize that a lot of the things we do are automatic habits that are just coming and going every day. When you wake up and grab your phone, that's a habit that you've been enforcing for years on end. So now it's just become automatic. For a whole day, as a personal experiment, write down every habit you do in a day from the minute you wake up to the minute you sleep. This means you getting out of bed, you grabbing your phone, you drinking some water, brushing your teeth, every single small habit that you do. And once you do this, on the next day, go through what you had as habits. Put a plus beside the positive habits that you want to keep in your life. Put a negative beside the habits that you want to remove from your life, and an equal sign beside the habits that are just there. Using this method, you'll be able to find out what you do in a day and how you can improve it to make it the best one possible, with the most productivity and efficiency possible. At the start of every week, vow to remove one bad habit, even two if you're capable. Do it until those habits are no longer automatic and you are conscious of what you're doing. This could mean grabbing your phone right out of bed. The next time you wake up, don't do it. That's it. This will make you very mindful of your surroundings. You will always be calculating the next step and making it the best one possible. This is much better than running on autopilot for the rest of the day. Over time, once you start crafting the day you want and removing all the bad habits, you'll realize that the best day you could have will be running on autopilot itself. It won't be as hard to do the good habits anymore because you've just gotten rid of all the bad ones. The point here is not adding more good habits into your schedule. It's removing the ones that are already there to free up more time. And with this more time, you could find another way of getting mindfulness, and that is meditation. And no, not the boring breathing meditation where you just sit there and you're no, this type of meditation I'm going to tell you about is called mindful journaling. This is literally where you just sit down with a journal or a piece of paper and you write what you're thinking and what you think about that thought. Think of it as thinking about your thinking and then reflecting on that thinking on paper, if that makes any sense. For example, if you get a sudden thought about your body, ask yourself why you're thinking this. And once you do that, you find out that your body's fat. And what's the solution to that? You have to go work out. There, another problem solved. This is a way of finding things you can work on without having to consciously do it all the time. Your mind is trying to tell you things once you're sitting down and trying to focus, because those things are important. Your mind wouldn't tell you about your body unless there was something wrong about it. You would even remember tasks that you had to do within the day while just journaling. One thing I learned about myself is that I do a lot of shallow work, and we'll be talking more about this in the productivity section. Mindfulness can be practiced anywhere at any time at all. While eating, feel the food in your mouth. And this sounds weird because literally no one does it. Whenever we're eating, we always try to distract ourselves with something. Maybe it's a video on our phone. Maybe it's us talking to our family. We never really focus on what we eat. And being mindful about your eating is actually shown to reduce weight in individuals who are overweight. With every chew, feel it breaking down within your mouth, with the saliva trying to mush with the food and you getting to swallow it right after. All of these are great habits, and they can be practiced anytime in the day. But the best kind of meditation for actual focus is breath meditation. And it is boring, but there are multiple guided meditations online. You can watch the 5, 10, 15-minute meditation videos, and they'll tell you exactly what to do and how to do it. But I believe it is much better to stick to clearing your mind first. This will make the other meditation, breathing one, much more easier to do, because then you won't get intrusive thoughts about what you need to do for the day. The second way to massively fix your mental health is gratitude. And this is literally the secret to happiness. No joke. We live in a world where everyone wants more. We get our new phone and we're very happy with it until the next one comes out. Automatically, our desires want us to get that new phone, even though we forget about all the things we did just to get the one we have now. This desire to get more is really good, at least only up to an extent. It is a very good driver to motivate you to achieve your purpose, but at times, it can override what you do in a day and make you feel like you're not enough because you're constantly wanting more. Gratitude helps you decrease aggression, make you more happy, and just in general give you better sleep. Now, this isn't one of those videos that'll tell you to go to the mirror and stare yourself in the eyes and say, I love you. I'm the perfect human being. I don't need to work on myself. No, you need to work on yourself. That is cope. That is not real science. This is real science. This is backed up by multiple studies to show that this actually increases happiness. Gratitude makes it onto my schedule every day and every night, especially in the morning. This is when you start your day, and the way you start your day is the way the rest of your day will improve. I've been gratitude journaling since last June, and ever since then, my happiness has flown through the roof. Now, happiness isn't something that shows all the time. You're not gonna expect me to smile all the time, just like smile at you. Now, that's not happiness. Smiling all the time is charisma. You can be extremely charismatic but be depressed at the same time. I've seen people who put on the best aura for others, but inside they actually have clinical depression. The people around these depressed individuals say they were perfectly fine and actually happy, until they see them on the news. This is a really easy habit to do, and its benefits are huge. In improving your happiness, you'll find that everything else follows. People think that once you become successful, you'll become more happy. But what if it was the other way around? I read this in The Happiness Advantage, where if you're actually more happy, you're more prone to become successful. It's a positive feedback loop. If you become happy, you become successful, which makes you more happy. This is why doing gratitude journaling in the morning is the most important thing you could do. To do this, just grab a piece of paper and write down 2 things you're grateful for. What is something you have around you that makes you feel happy about yourself? Look at that object and write down, I am grateful for blank. I'll do one right now. I am grateful for this camera. This camera was one I actually found in my mom's closet, and she wasn't using it. She's like, alright, yeah, go ahead, go use it. Once you start looking at objects, memories associated to it start blooming out of your mind, and you become so grateful for the journey it had to go through to reach you. Realize that everything you have around you is not just a thing, it's not just an object, it's a relationship. Everything around you has memories embedded in your mind that you just never access because it's useless. You never stop to admire that which is around you. Do this with literally anything around you. It could be the shirt you have on right now. It could be a Christmas sweater you got from your friend. The best thing you could do with gratitude is spread it on to others. This shows your charisma. If you remember this Christmas sweater that you got from your friend, remind your friend. Tell them, oh, I was just thinking and I saw this Christmas sweater that you got me, and I'm very grateful that you got it for me. This friend would be so happy to just hear that, because many people don't remember the gifts that they get from others. But we will talk more about that in the social life chapter. You actually get to remember the story behind a certain thing, and you can see some things go so far back that it's impossible to even believe. You might even start getting emotionally happy, and that is gratitude for you. So here's a quick recap. Start with my way of mindfulness, which is mindful journaling. After you've done that and you've found that there really isn't much to write, then you can start doing the breath focus meditation. Keep on writing until you literally can't write anymore. This will help clear up your mind much faster if you don't want to wait 2 months. Now the second thing is to gratitude journal at least 2 things a day, and I recommend doing it in the morning. It could literally be the same pen that you're writing on that paper with. Remember it in your head, remember where you got that pen from, and if you can, thank the person you got it from, because spreading gratitude onto others is the most fulfilling feeling you could do. Part 5. A self-reset. We all wake up sometimes feeling extremely drained, and this all comes down to our dopamine. There are people who wake up and get dopamine just from being. But then there's the individuals who get their dopamine from external stimuli. I will show you how to reset yourself and get yourself onto a solid path of self-improvement. I can assure you, I do not control the matrix, so this is not a real mind reset, but it is a dopamine reset. A dopamine detox. Firstly, what is dopamine? So when we think of dopamine, we think of happiness, and it does change the way we feel throughout the day, but that's not the only thing it does. It helps us think and it helps us plan. It helps us focus and it helps us choose what we need to focus on. It was recently discovered that dopamine was also the thing that made you happy and controlled your motor functions, which is how you move your hand and all that. Dopamine is the reward center of the brain. When you do something, your brain gets rewarded with dopamine. Whether it be scrolling on TikTok or generally just reading a book, there are many different types of dopamine. If you get it from highly stimulating devices such as TikTok or Instagram, you'll find life extremely boring. It's the reason you hate socializing, or you hate doing your homework, you hate getting out of bed. The only thing that you like about your life is TikTok. Either you don't have a defined purpose, or you do have goals, but you don't have the dopamine to do it. There was an experiment done with how delaying your gratification can change the way your life goes. There were multiple children taken into this study, with all from different backgrounds. They were all told to sit in a room separately with a marshmallow in front of them. They were told that they can have this marshmallow right now and just leave the room, or they can wait 15 minutes with the marshmallow in front of them and get another additional marshmallow to eat. After the experiment, these children were tracked through their lives to see how well they would do, financially, emotionally, socially, and in every aspect of life. These are 2 categories of dopamine release: instant gratification and delayed gratification. It turns out that the children who delayed their gratification the most, or the ones who waited for the second marshmallow, did much better financially in life. Those who chose the marshmallows before waiting, the instant gratification fellows, they didn't do as great in life. And it turns out the faster they took the marshmallow, the worse off they were in life. Instant gratification is exactly what it sounds like. like. Instant dopamine. Something that rewards you now. Something that makes you feel good in the moments. It doesn't require much waiting either to achieve the reward. The apps you have on their phone. There are sweaty software engineers sitting behind computers trying to optimize every pixel to be good for the human brain. Now don't think you're the outlier. Oh, I'm not addicted to TikTok. You are addicted. Whether or not you could tell, you are damaging your brain with every minute you spend on the app. This is like hearing someone say they only game for 1 hour a day. You know they're lying. Delayed gratification, however, is what we're aiming for. If you are able to delay your gratification, you're able to control your self-discipline. You know that feeling when you've completed a project that you've been working on for 3 hours non-stop, and once you're done, you just feel like you got a weight lifted off your shoulders. Imagine that 10 or 20 times. 5 years from now. That is the feeling of achieving delayed gratification activities. Reading, working out, all of these things are hard for the instant gratification enjoyer to enjoy because they're so used to instant pleasure. They can't wait for their next dopamine release. There's only one way, and a lot of people don't do this because they think it's not normal. They believe it's normal to watch YouTube and partake in every trend that comes by. Well, you know what else is becoming normal? Becoming overweight is normal. The average male in the United States weighs 197 pounds. Does that sound normal to you? Do you want to identify with them? I've tried to limit these things myself in the past, but eventually they will damage you one way or another. It's going to be a couple of days until the cycles repeat and you start binging those same apps again. This will keep on happening until you doubt yourself and just lose hope. That's when your journey ends. Part 6. Physical health. Everyone at some point thinks of their physical health. While we're young, we disregard the benefits we have compared to our elderly counterparts. We're born fit, we generally have fast metabolisms, and it's much easier for us to build muscle, which is the most important part of physical health. I'm not here to just make you muscle. I'm here to make you more physically attractive overall. There's a point where a lot of stuff comes into our life. A lot of homework, a lot of stress, a lot of family issues, and everything just piling on you at once. This is usually when people stop worrying about their physical health and focus on the urgent and important. This is when people become dads and they start losing the muscle they've gained over the years. They start getting fatter and fatter, and everyone believes this is inevitable. So this is where you ask yourself, am I doing this to stay fit until I'm 30? Or am I doing this to stay fit for the rest of my life? A lot of people want to stay fit for all of their lives. They don't only want the short-term benefits of looking nice. They just don't want back pain at the age of 30. It's not supposed to be like that. Our lifestyles have made this inevitable, but it is very, very easy to make it so that you don't have the back pain at 30. Once you start believing it's inevitable, it will be inevitable for you. During the ages of 16 to 25, we will have the most testosterone we will ever get. And this means it is the best time to start working out and get all the benefits you can of muscle building. There are some things to know, however, before starting to build muscle, and they will enhance your potential to start growing as you start working out. Firstly, and I cannot emphasize this enough, get enough sleep. We all believe we get enough sleep because we sleep at 11 and we wake up at 6. But 7 hours of sleep is not enough to help you grow taller. It's not enough to help you recover from muscle workouts. If you don't get enough sleep, you actually increase your appetite, which increases your fat stores, in return making you fatter. Getting the recommended amount of sleep, which is 9.5 hours. Getting enough sleep, which is 9.5 hours, has shown to improve muscle, improve focus, improve concentration, improve HGH and testosterone, and it's also shown to make you grow taller. Almost no one gets enough sleep because they say that they have too much work or not enough time. Realistically, you have a lot of time. Because you just started a dopamine detox, you will be able to start getting sleep much earlier. Along with sleep, get a bit of water in, at least 1 gallon a day. Now that we've got the basics covered, now it's time to learn about how muscle is built. But this all depends on your goal. Are you trying to gain weight and gain muscle? Or are you trying to lose fat and gain more muscle? If you want to lose weight, you cut carbs, increase protein. And if you want to gain weight, you increase your carbs and your protein. Since all of these include upping your protein, it should be at least 1 gram per body pound of weight. So that means if you weigh 165 pounds, you should be eating 165 grams of protein. Now with my parents, they told me that you should eat your protein naturally. But then I told them that I would need to eat 3 chicken breasts just to get the amount of protein I need. And that changed their mind pretty quick. So if your parents say no, just tell them that. And to start working out, you will not hit the gym right away. This is a big problem that many come across. They start hitting the gym and then after a few days they give up. They say it's too difficult and I don't see any results. Going to the gym isn't a great idea until you have your mind and your body partially worked out. To be able to keep it a habit, you need to get this mindset ingrained in your head. You are making progress. It just does not show. Every time you step on that scale, don't expect the numbers to move every day. 7 months into my training, 7 months, I had only gained 8 pounds of muscle. That was back in June of 2021. Ever since June, I have gained over 25 to 30 pounds of muscle. It's all a compounding process. And here's a quote from James Clear that really puts this into perspective. When nothing seems to help, I go out and I look at a stone cutter, hammering away at the stone without seeing as much as a crack in it. Yet at the 101st blow, this rock will split in half. You should not be dying after the first workout. It should be extremely small. For the first workout, literally just do push-ups until you get a bit out of your comfort zone. This means that you should do it until you feel a bit of a burn in your arms. Once you start getting that burn, do one more and then stop. Wait 45 seconds and do that same cycle again. This is a workout. That exact system is how you lift weights in the gym as well. Reps or repetition until failure, and sets are the amount of times you do those reps. You have a 45-second break in between the sets. If you did the push-ups, consider yourself an athlete. This is the start to something huge. Every day, increase the push-ups by at least 1. And if you aren't able to do that for 2 more days and then increase it. There will be a point that the amount of push-ups you do in a day is so unideal that you'll have to start hitting the gym. And that's when you start going. When you have to do about 60 to 70 push-ups a day for each set, that's when you start going to the gym. You'll be prepped to lift moderate weights and not be lifting 10-pound dumbbells once you get in. So you probably have your physical goals down, and this means you have a purpose for when you hit the gym. So now it's time to find a routine. And since I'm not great with muscular science, I will link a Jeff Nippard video, which will give you exactly a workout routine that I follow, and it's been working for me for quite a while. Other than that, it's really more about consistency and intensity. You should not be prioritizing intensity over consistency. This means hitting the gym only 2 times a week, but doing it so hard that you literally can't go tomorrow. Another thing you can work on for your physical health is your skincare. And I'll be honest, my skin sucks. I get acne breakouts every now and then. So I'll give you a few tips that I didn't follow, but I should have when I started getting acne. Firstly, do not touch your face at all. This will leave marks on your face. It's quite obvious. I got some. Mewing. Mewing will help get your tongue in the right position. This means when you put your tongue at the top of your mouth, and there's a lot of videos online for this. So you could go search up mewing and how to do it. This will help make your cheekbones get higher so that you look more young. I want you to ask yourself this again. Do you see yourself working out at the age of 65? If you answer yes to that, then you know you shouldn't miss a workout. And if you do miss one, it's alright because you can hit it tomorrow. I never stress when I miss a few workouts here and there, which I have never missed at all. Think for the long term, not just now. Your gains will come. You just need to have patience. Part 7. Productivity. Productivity is something that we all want to learn, but we can never get down how to do it. I even made a video on productivity, but I have a few extra vital things that are very important if you want your day to be much more effective and productive. Firstly, you need to learn that being busy does not mean you're being productive. Likewise, doing less is not laziness. You do not have to have your whole day filled up with something to do. You can tell as many people as you want that you are working 12 hours a day to study for your AP chemistry exam. But yet the smart kid that works out, runs a YouTube channel, he reads, he goes for runs, he does meditation, he does all these things, and he studies for less time than you do, yet he gets the same grade. You blame it on his IQ. Oh, he was just born like that. Well, I was not born like that. What takes you 2 or 3 hours can easily be finished in 40 minutes. And I'm not even exaggerating. The reality is that productivity is not about introducing more things into your daily routine, such as working out, running, or reading. It's about eliminating that which is bothering you. If you started the dopamine detox, you should have eliminated most of the habits that you have on a day. But there are still some things that could be bothering you and not letting you get into a deep workflow. This is great. Now you have a lot of time to do the things that you want to do. Now again, we will bring the Pareto principle into this. Identify the few important things that are getting you the most effect of when you start working or studying. For example, if you're in biology class and your exams are coming up, learn what 80% of the things are the most important on the exam, and don't worry about the rest of the 20%. This will give you enough information to get at least a 95 on the exam. In doing so, you'll be able to identify what to remove and what to add in terms of studying, and this will save you the most time possible. Now for productivity, if you are journaling, you have a much higher chance of getting into a deep workflow. Now I keep on mentioning deep work, and it is very vital if you want to get your work done efficiently and effectively. Deep Work was a book written by Cal Newport, and he had emphasized how nowadays we are doing a lot of of shallow work. Shallow work is when you just start working and then you switch to another tab. You start watching YouTube while in the middle of your essay, and then you remember you have to do your essay and you switch back. Then you get a notification. Your mom's telling you to come out get the groceries. So you go out, get the groceries, and you forget and you start going on TikTok. See how this goes. You think you're working for 2 hours when realistically you'd only been working on your essay for 15 minutes of that time. What if you took all of that time and just dedicated a 40-minute block towards working? You'd get it all done. One law to introduce into your life is Parkinson's law. You know how you once had a 700-word essay due at 11:59 p.m. and it was 11:30 and you're like, oh, how am I supposed to do this? So then you just sat down and you started working. You just typed whatever came in your mind. You got the 700-word essay done. You submitted it at 11:59 and miraculously you got a moderately good grade of 92. That is Parkinson's law. It states that your work expands to the time allotted for its completion. That just means that you gave yourself a time limit in which you have to finish the work or else there'll be dire consequences. You wouldn't get your work in. So then how did you get this relentless focus towards just doing your work? Well, first you created pressure for yourself, and secondly, you introduced Pareto's principle into your life again. You got rid of 80% of things that are bothering you, and you took the 20% of things that you were able to learn and you just typed it out. You got 80% of your essay done, and that got you a 92. The best thing is this works for every scenario if you try to find a way for it to work. Say for example, you work at a call center and you need to get a minimum of 50 calls a day. Now, you generally be working 9 to 5 and you'd have to find calls throughout the day and try to fulfill by the time it's 5 p.m. But what if you can find the times in which the calls were most active? By looking at trends, you'd be able to see that people called the most between 9 and 10 and 3 and 4. And those would be the times you dedicate your full attention towards just calling. You save almost 6 hours. Time you can do is spent on something else. In order to do this, I recommend reading The 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. You could also use this principle for finishing your homework. Finish your homework before you get back from school so that you have time to do whatever you want when you get back. It sounds impossible, and that's exactly the point. The 700-word essay sounded impossible, but you still did it. So to introduce this law, you also need to get yourself a time limit. And the best way to do this is using the Pomodoro method. And this is a system where you have a certain amount of time for work and then you give yourself some time for a break. Now everyone has personalized Pomodoros. My Pomodoro is 50-10 and your Pomodoro might be 25-5. That means you work for 25 minutes and you take a break for 5. And you just do that until your work's done. Now you could start lining this by saying that in this 25 minutes, you have to get this essay done. In the next 25 minutes, I have to get this work done, whatever you have to do. To test which Pomodoro works best for you, just time yourself when you start working. Whenever your attention starts drifting away, that's how long your Pomodoro should be. It's alright if it's only 10-15 minutes. If it's 10 minutes, just take a 2-minute break and then go back. If you have started meditating and doing mindful journaling, then you'll find that your time is much higher than before. You'll be able to do 30, 40, 50 minutes, and you are much more effective in this time block. And these two methods alone will free up so much time in your day that you'll have time to do delayed gratification activities. You could stay in the gym for 2 hours while having an AP chemistry class, one of the hardest AP classes known to high schoolers. Now the thing is, sometimes you will not get your work done. You set a Pomodoro to tell yourself you will do this project in 50 minutes, and your teacher told you it's supposed to take a week. At most, you will get 80 to 85% of it done. But think about it. If you hadn't put time into it, it would have taken you that week to do it. But since you set yourself a time limit, now you have free time to do whatever else you need to do. The final touch-ups, the 15%, can be done within a day. Now I told you the way to get the most efficiency out of your work, but how about effectiveness? How about how to study to get the most memorization? People usually struggle with how they want to study. There's just so many methods online. People tell you to take notes, they tell you to make flashcards, and these do technically work, but there's a scientifically proven method that works the best for memorization. Now, we believe that to memorize things, we just need to keep on repeating it over and over. We think we could just engrave it into our mind, but that's not how it works at all. Memory actually works. When you read something, you take more information and then you try to recall the first thing that you had read. It's like trying to pull out a file of information from your brain after taking in a bunch of other information. Now some tips for school productivity and school in general. Firstly, aiming for 100 on every assignment is useless. Now this sounds like a very hot take, and it's not because I don't want you to get into your dream college, but the thing is, everything that is above an A will get counted as a 4.0 GPA. If an A in your country is a 90, anything above a 90 will be a 4. As long as it's good enough, it works out. If you spend too much time trying to reach that 100, you'll waste time you can spend on doing something else. Take that time and do extracurriculars. College admission officers don't even look at each individual grade. They just look at your overall GPA. Another thing you should try and do is go for a lot of AP level courses. Now that you have this productivity thing down, you will have a lot of free time. Once you learn to study effectively, you will learn that it is so much more easier to do these courses than people tell you it is. It will literally only take you 2 hours of studying to get everything down. You'll be able to get every single habit you want, plus sports, plus those AP courses. And trust me on that, it's very possible. Productivity is not hard at all, but finding the right things to do is the hardest thing. Finding out what you are doing that is the most effective is the most effective thing you can do. So, you made it to the end. You know, this was something that took me about 2 months to actually conjugate together. I've been thinking from the start, I want something to help teenagers. I see some of you guys, and it is hard to watch your lives go by. We don't value our time at all. We spend our days sitting on our bed scrolling through TikTok. And it's hard to get this message across to so many people. They don't want to listen. They want to stay in their own world. It's really sad. If you've made it this far, I know you're dedicated. You may not take my advice. You may not do everything I said in there, and that's okay. I just want to know that I got the message across to you. I want to know that I got to tell you what I know so far. There's a lot to learn on this journey. It's not just about improving yourself. It's about helping others. The ideal life for me is coming across and helping you guys. It's hard to see people struggle. You see opportunities pass by people who are gifted. They don't even know it. They think that when the school tells you you're gifted, that's the most gifted you can be. You know, most of the videos on my channel, they're going to be ideas that I just form in my head. Like I have one coming out, so they'll leak. The West is going to fall. These are just clickbait titles to get people to click on it. That's how YouTube works. That's how it will work. If you do not benefit from these videos, click off. I know there's so many people out there, so many people you can watch for entertainment, something to make you feel better. Your life matters. You are very important to me. I may not be able to see you across the screen, but I know who's watching this video. I know that shy boy that is just watching through their little laptop or computer, or even their phone, and they're just sitting there like, I want to fix my life. I do not know where to start. This is where you start. You start with action. You can get all the plans you want. I can lead you to the water as much as I want. But whether you choose to drink the water is up to you. Whether you choose to follow the plan is up to you. I may be wrong. Most of the things I say may be wrong. 5 years from now, I might regret what I said. But at least I know I got to tell you what I know so far. What has worked for me so far. And I hope I've changed you. I hope I can make even a little bit of a difference in your life. Because that's what matters. If you choose to take this journey, you will make it through. No matter how hard it may get, no matter what people say, you will have people come at you. They will tell you, what are you doing? Why aren't you coming out to the parties with me? Why aren't you using TikTok? Let's go make a TikTok together. They will say that. They will try to bring you down to their level. That's when you know you don't have the right friends. They will tell you, oh, it's okay to watch 2 shows a day on Netflix. No one will help you set up for success. Only you can do that. No one wants to help you. Only you can do that. If you want something you want me to record, please leave it down there. I know you have watched till this far. I will take your ideas into consideration. Because I know you are worth working on. If you have watched this far. Thank you. And I know you will succeed.